Good day everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Wandering Ukie Cheese Cafe. So as I'm recording this right now, it is July 20th, 2026, and I'm still in the middle of my little summer vacation. I'll admit I haven't really done as much recording as I wanted to, just because I've been trying to balance things between helping out my family, getting some jobs done around my house here, but then at the same time, doing a few wanders I could capture on camera, and still take time for myself to just detach, decompress, and enjoy myself while keeping a low profile. Because let's face it, if you're on social media, sometimes you gotta detach and not be plugged in 24/7. But I figured today would be a great time to do a slightly different area of the city that I haven't really done in quite some time. I've mentioned before about Angrignon Park around the southwest side of Montreal in the past. It's one that I used to visit from time to time, like once as a kid, occasionally as a teenager, and maybe even the surrounding areas as an adult, but I feel like the last time I was around there was probably like 2019, 2020, definitely pre-COVID. So that means I'm kind of overdue for going over to there to see just how the area has changed since then. At the same time, show how it's related to two vlogs I've done around the area with a couple of collaborators, no less. And at the same time, see how, well, I guess you know where I'm going with this. See how it's changed, share my stories of the few times I visited around there, and maybe get a good beverage along the way, because there is one spot that I've been meaning to check out that I've had the stuff at home but want to get at the source. So we're going to be doing that today on this new episode. But before we go, here's my suggestion for you. You got it. Hit that subscribe button below and put the notification bell on, because that way, if there's a new video ready to view, you're going to get a pop-up on your phone. And while you're at it, give me a like on this video. The more likes I get, the more these videos are promoted all across YouTube, so it does help me get more exposure than you realize. And without further ado, I'll finish off this espresso, and then we're going to get started on our adventure. Wow, I feel like it's been at least 6 years since I stepped foot into this station. I know there's been a time where I wanted to try to get to every single subway/metro station as a younger adult, but this one I haven't really visited as much. But I will say I like the architecture in here, because one thing that's pretty nice about the Montreal subway system is that each one of the stations is going to be unique, so none of them are going to look alike. And this one actually won some awards, because if you're looking at it down there, as you probably saw with the footage from earlier, it's actually encased in glass over here at the end, so it shows the tunnel here is not as deep as some of the other ones, like let's say Charlevoix, Berry-UQAM, and so forth. So this one I kind of like the look of it, and I think if I was to continue further this way, that would take me to Boulevard des Tricentenaires, at least I think that's the name of it, but instead I'm actually going to be turning to the other side because Angrignon Park is accessible right from there. And also, this is another major bus terminal that I was around. It seems to cover a lot of ground within the southwest. So that's going to be like Lasalle, which is a hop and a skip away from here. Other parts of the city within the southwest, but also it's a terminal for people who live around like the South Shore, or at least like the Montreal suburbs southwest of the island. So think like Saint Constant, St. Catherine, Chateauguay, Kahnawake, like that general area. Those are all served by buses through the Mercy Bridge. I've never really been around there before, or at least only in passing, but I guess one day I could try to cover it. But this is going to be my main destination. Nice. Kind of a linear path around here. So when I think of all the major parks in Montreal, I'm obviously going to be thinking of Lafontaine Park, Jean Drapeau, Maisonneuve, Jarry Park, but for some reason Angrignon Park, it's always been under my radar. I've only done a handful of visits, like I said, over the years, and I just never think about coming here to this part of the city. I guess I could do it more often because there is a little bit more to see. As for my experiences with this, well, where do I begin? I guess we could start from this point over here. As a kid, I was always really obsessed with the metro over here. Like some stations always used to intrigue me. I'd want to take the metro to get everywhere I could, even the bus would be a little easier. But I was also intrigued by sometimes the terminuses that I wouldn't necessarily visit on my own. Angrignon, I seem to recall there was one time when my dad's car was in the shop and he had to go take the bus, subway to work, probably a bus afterwards. And what we did was we ended up at the McGill station where it was the four of us, like me, my mom, brother, sister. No, wait, my sister wasn't born at that point yet, but it was the four of us. My dad was taking the metro over to Angrignon because he worked in Lachine at the time, and then we just went the opposite direction, going to Rosemont to visit our grandmother around Rosemont. So that's how I always remembered it. And then fast forward to, I believe it was like 1994 or 1995, and I was hearing my parents talk about some kind of a mini farm, or I guess a petting zoo that was located within Angrignon Park. And we did the drive out over here from the South Shore, but I guess I didn't realize just how close it was to the metro then. So that was the first time we ever visited it, the only time we ever drove here with my dad as far as I can remember. And then eventually checking out Carrefour Angrignon, close by to here, because it's only a couple of minutes away from here. And I seem to also remember, oh yeah, there was still an Eaton's over there at the time. Probably nice water fountains, as was the norm back in the day at the malls. And that was our first time. Quite a nice stream slash lake we got here. But that was, again, my first point of reference for Angrignon Park. Fast forward into like probably 1998, 1999, and I think we did a visit where it was the four of us together, my mom, brother, and sister that time, because it was like shortly after my father passed away, and I think it was at that point that we were probably doing a lot of random trips around the city, whether it's for looking for bookstores because of summer reading I had to do for school, because of my program I was in for high school, or sometimes finding random malls, and I guess some way to keep us all occupied, which I guess was also planting some of the further roots of me becoming a wanderer at the time. Oh, there is a pedestrian path over there that takes me further into the residential area of LaSalle, and probably by extension close to Newman Boulevard, but I could get to that a little bit later on. Those are two visits I remembered doing with my full family, and pretty sure I might have done a visit here or there, like maybe one other one at best. Otherwise, actually, I don't think I've really visited Angrignon Park as much compared to the other parks, so this is probably my first time in almost 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, where I really walked through here. So yeah, like I said, it was never really my park when I was growing up, at least compared to some of the other ones around Montreal. Yeah, I could tell that I didn't really come to this park much because I didn't realize it was a full greenery space that I was able to walk through with a path. I think if we did visit as a family, we probably didn't go very deep into the park. It's pretty big. I know, I looked at it on the map and I got a sense of the size. It's definitely not a Maisonneuve Park size, but it's still pretty vast for the Southwest. This stream stretches out a lot further than I expected to. Kind of makes me think of, where was the source of this originally? Because unlike something like Mont Saint Bruno, where you got the Saint Bruno National Park, that you have the river that runs down the mountain all the way to the lakes that were shown by me and my friend Julie, which by the way was a recent episode, and I'm going to put a card in the top right corner if you want to revisit our little walk through Saint Bruno, like her old neighborhood, which was very close to, actually it's pretty much within downtown Saint Bruno, close to the park. Definitely a large park. I was looking at the map just to kind of get my bearings for which direction I'm heading in, and I feel like if I was to go south from here, then I'm eventually going to be hitting the Lachine Canal, because the Lachine Canal runs all the way from the LaSalle borough, through Verdun, through Point St. Charles, Griffintown, eventually into Old Montreal. And that canal is actually pretty big for transporting goods into Montreal for a while, and I think it's at the 150th anniversary if memory serves correctly. So quite the milestone to celebrate. So many random dirt paths that go into the woods. Could be nice to look at, kind of like when I was with my friend Judy, but I'm not really in the mood to go off the beaten path. I want to try to get to the Lachine Canal easily from here. Been hitting up a couple of paths around here, and I think I'm on the home stretch to getting to the Lachine Canal. So I'll be able to get a little bit of a breeze right by the water very shortly. Okay, I gotta clarify something because I think I forgot one important element. Yes, I'm gonna be right by the Lachine Canal, but right over here is the Lafontaine Boulevard, and that's actually one of the major roads that you could get used to get into the Southwest from here. So that means I have to cross the street to be able to access the canal, but it seems like it's a major boulevard, and I have to find a stoplight for that. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll just head back into the park to wrap things up. Son of a submariner. Okay, well, I kind of ran into a snag more so than I really anticipated. Seemed like that my microphone had died along the way. I had a bit of an issue when I was recording an episode earlier in the week, and it seemed like that I was running out of power, which turns out it wasn't charging at all due to a busted USB port. So when I got a brand new pair, I didn't charge it for as much time as I need to with a brand new battery. So that means that this quality is not exactly the way that I wanted it to be, and I'll see if I do any other additional recording, because I figured being around Angrignon Park, it was taking up a little bit more time than anticipated, and I thought I could do a second part within the Southwest today, and maybe share a few other stories, if the sound quality is good. But overall, it's nice to be able to visit another green area of Montreal that you don't really expect to see as much of when you're within the center of the island, because you think like all these concrete buildings, bricks, and so forth. But it's pretty nice. Might want to come back here again one of these days. And, well, I guess what I'll do is I'll just continue my walk around the Southwest. And if I'm eager to continue recording despite not having a full microphone, we shall see. But on that note, thanks for watching this latest edition of the Wandering Ukie Cheese Cafe. So if you like what you see, you know what you can do. That's right. Hit that subscribe button below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy the wanders that I do, stories I tell, the explorations, and everything that comes with it. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, leave them in the comments section. I'll see if I can incorporate it. Till then, take care. See you next time, and above all else, enjoy the ride. You know I will.